Welcome back to Startup Accounting 101. It's the video series for entrepreneurs and founders to understand basic accounting concepts for starting up a business. So we're moving through a financial projections template. And this template is available for free from score.org. Just go to the template gallery and download this template. I'll put their link in the description below. So this video will be covering payroll. So this template provides a pretty good high-level estimate on what you can expect your payroll cost to be. And we're working on tab 2A and looking at the payroll cost for year 1. So with that, let's get started. We're starting with employee types. So you as the founder are an owner. And any other co-founder will be added to this owner section. Then we'll have full-time, part-time, and independent contractors. Now, there are specific rules on how to categorize whether someone is an employee or an independent contractor. Now, I've been a part of EDD audits involving the misclassification of employees. So I would recommend working with an employment lawyer or an HR specialist for, the proper classification of employees. Now, once that's determined, once you have that, then you can move on and complete the most important part of this worksheet. So you'll have to think about the number of employees and just how much people do you need to run your business and the employee types and how much they'll make, the hourly rate, and how many hours they'll be working every week. Now, these inputs, these assumptions, drives the entire projection. Everything else on the worksheet are formulas that references these inputs. So the more accurate you can be with them, these inputs, it'll give you the best forecast of the payroll cost. So with that, we will now cover the formulas in this worksheet. So the first one is going to be based on the number, the hourly rate, and how much they're working per week. If you take that, multiply it by 52 weeks of the year, and divide it by 12 months in a year, you can get the estimated salaries and wages every month for each employee type. So there's 4 here. In this template, throughout this template, I should say, there are sort of these red triangles. And so these are notes. Any additional information you need for that section. So here in this section, there's a note that says, these cells have been auto-populated but can be overwritten if your payroll expenses increase over time. So what that means is that by default, right now, the default formula assumes that everything stays the same throughout the year. The same number of people, they're going to earn the same amount, and they're going to work the same number of hours per week. But let's say you have a costume store, for example, and because of Halloween, you're going to get a lot more business in October. So to handle the additional business, you might want to hire more part-time employees to handle this influx of business. So let's say you're going to double the amount of people. And so in October, it's going to go up to, let's say, $7,000. Now, because it's a formula, right now, that references just whatever comes before the prior month. But you know that in November, once Halloween is done, things will go back to normal. So here, you want to change the reference from the prior month, which is 010, to, let's just say, September. So that's N. And now we'll see that there's a little spike in the wages, and then in October, and then it goes back to normal. So this, you also need to estimate just if there's any differences or any seasonality in the business. You'll have to add these assumptions and variations throughout the year. Now, in addition to just the base salary and wages, well, in 1935, Congress passed a little legislation called the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. So that's FICA or FICA. And this was to provide various social benefits for the country. So we know them as Social Security and Medicare. And so we pay for these programs through payroll taxes. Now, these taxes are split 50-50. So you as the employer, you pay half, and the employee pays the other half. So with these taxes for the employee side, they see that amount taken away from their paycheck. It's a deduction for the paycheck. But for employers, for you as the business owner, that amount is added on top of their wages. So again, the section on up here is just the base wage piece of payroll. And the next section are the payroll taxes and any other benefits you want to pay on behalf of the employee. So this percentage here is the employer contribution for Social Security and Medicare. And you'll also have to pay unemployment tax for federal and state. A note about the state unemployment. Here, each state has a different rate. So this, I am currently in California, so this is the amount for California. If you're in a different state, you're going to want to just Google your state and state unemployment tax for your state and put that here in this section right here. And if you're offering any other benefits, then you're going to put, how much you're going to contribute in this section here. So going back to Social Security and Medicare. So for these taxes, like they're exactly the same formula for all the months. And for Social Security and Medicare, you're taking 8, 9, and 10, which are the owner, full-time, and part-time employees. So you're taking how much they're making and times C15, which is the percentage. So this is how much you owe. So this is the reason why the classification of employees is important, because as the employer, you only have to cover the payroll taxes for employees. Like independent contractors, self-employed, they cover their own, the entire Social Security and Medicare tax by themselves. So if you're self-employed completing this form, then you would double these percentages. And currently, and unless things change, independent contractors do not pay unemployment taxes. Now, here we're going to cover wage base limit. So here the note says the wage base limit is the maximum earned gross income on which a given tax may be imposed. So here for unemployment, it's $7,000. Both federal and state are both $7,000. And what this means, essentially, what a wage base limit means is that for unemployment taxes, you only have to pay them for the first $7,000 you make, and that's it. So because of that, the formula for the unemployment taxes here, it's taking B12, which is actually the total number of employees, times B17, which is $7,000, times the contribution amount, which is here, and then dividing that by 12. So it's spreading out those taxes throughout the entire year, and assuming that all employees are going to make at least $7,000. Now, going back to the wage base limit, the last sentence, the amounts below are for 2012. So this template is over 10 years old, and the limits have changed. So the number one rule of projections is making sure that you have the most updated information. Like in your template, you have 137,700. Now, the limit for 2023 is 160 to 200. So to get an accurate projection, you have to update this number. Like when you try to do it, Excel is going to have this warning that says the cell or chart you're trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make a change unprotected sheet, you might be requested to enter a password. Okay. So going back to the directions, says the cells with formulas in this workbook are locked, and we just saw that. If changes are needed, the unlock code is 1234. Please use caution when unlocking the spreadsheet. If you want to change a formula, we strongly recommend that you save a copy of the spreadsheet before under a different name before doing so. And I recommend the same. I would save a copy just in case you need to reference an older version. So we're going to go back to this tab, and to unlock or unprotect a worksheet, what you do is right click the tab and then go to Unprotect Sheets, then entering the password, and it's 1234, 1234. So with that, the template, this worksheet is now unlocked, and you can update the number. So this number, you guys have 137,700, and that needs to be updated for the 2023 limit, which is 160,200. So like right now, all employees make less than the Social Security wage limits. Now, let's say, for example, the owner, your rate increases to $100 an hour. 100. So now your annual salary is over 200K, and that's over the 160,000 K wage base limit. So for Social Security, eventually it will stop partway through the year. It's the same thing for the unemployment taxes as well. And down here, basically that's what it looks like. So here you can see what the wage base limit actually does. So you only have to pay taxes for the month of January for unemployment, and for Social Security, it sort of drops off in October. What I will say is that this template, it's a consolidating all the employees into like the different employee types. So right now, Social Security and Medicare is taken for everyone throughout the entire year, regardless of how much they make. Many startups, you're not going to run into the wage limit issue. But if you do, that's okay. Because this is a high level projection of payroll cost, this template is conservative. And it's just going to estimate the highest payroll tax that you can possibly owe. So for me, in my perspective, it's better to overestimate than underestimate. So I'm comfortable with this. Now, for the advanced FP&A folks, to have the most accurate forecast, you'll want to take the wage limit into consideration. So what I would do is I would list out every employee individually with their respective rates, and then create a separate section for these taxes that are subject to this wage base limit, and use this formula to forecast out the payroll cost. So what I'll do is I'll link the LinkedIn article from 2017 from Randall Hahn. It provides a great explanation of the Excel formula to use when dealing with wage base limits. I'll also post the Excel formulas that I used in this particular template, and I'll post that in the description below. And so now we've looked at the payroll costs, we feel comfortable with it, and if you also are done with all the edits, you can lock and protect the worksheet again. And to do that, you'll right click on the tab and you will enter the same password, 1234, and you're going to enter it twice. You're going to do it here and then re-enter that password, 1234. And here we go. So this has been a review of the first year payroll tab. If you found this video useful, please comment with any questions or clarifications on something I didn't cover, and subscribe to keep up with the next video of this template as we go on to estimate payroll for the second and third year.